South Korea recently agreed to kick in more of the cost to keep over 30,000 American troops in Korea, $1 billion a year instead of $800 million. The proposal awaits the president's approval. There's a reason U.S. troops have been there for over 65 years, as we found out when we visited the border.
That is their northern boundary. This is our southern boundary.
We're at the world's most dangerous border.
Probably the most fortified position on planet Earth.
To arrive at the tensest border on the planet, we drove north 35 miles from South Korea's capital of Seoul. Barbed wire and guard towers appear amongst lush fields of rice before we hit the first checkpoint. Security is serious because the two countries don't recognize each other as sovereign nations. They're still officially at war.
They provide briefings to the visitors.
Once on site at the Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, we can look over the mountainous green landscape into North Korea.
And you can see out there.
The demilitarized zone is not demilitarized. It's probably one of the most militarized spots on Earth, with a number of divisions and hundreds of thousands of soldiers and hundreds of artillery pieces of both the ROK Army, Republic of Korea Army, and the North Korean Army facing each other.
In 1950, the North Koreans attacked the South. China backed North Korea, and the U.S. aided the South. Over 3 years, 900,000 soldiers were killed, including 33,000 U.S. troops.
We have stopped the shooting.
An agreement signed in 1953 didn't end the war, but halted the fighting and established this 2.5-mile wide demilitarized zone, or DMZ, on the border. The U.S. has kept troops here ever since.
From a personal standpoint, it resonates with me a lot more because as a Korean American, my parents immigrated to the States in the 80s.
Captain Jeffrey Lee is among the 37,000 U.S. troops stationed in South Korea.
If the U.S. hadn't intervened in the Korean conflict in 1950, I wouldn't be standing here wearing this uniform today, standing in a U.S. Army uniform on the border of North and South Korea, defending really freedom on freedom's frontier. To defend against any aggressions against the free world.
While the U.S. wants to eliminate North Korea's ability to use nuclear weapons, North Korea is pressing for an official end to the U.S.-Korean War first. An armistice was signed in 1953, but there was no peace treaty. Some South Koreans worry that officially ending the war could lead to an exit of U.S. troops.